Peace. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you back to another edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn, New York City. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you guys are having a lovely day. I mean, this fine afternoon. It's freezing in the aftermath of the famous ice storm that we had in the tri-state area, New York City. All these surrounding areas got hit by large snowstorm, and followed right after it was extremely cold, so all the snow like is frozen up. It's gonna be frozen for the next couple of days, so we're still dealing with the aftermath as we speak. But we carry on. I haven't been able to go on live too because I've been having a shovel every day and sore as hell every day, and back's killing me. But here I am today with you guys. Glad that whoever sees this has joined me. But I'm gonna get into the topic at hand, which is Tim Walz has now caved into part of Trump's demands and is arresting some of these protesters that we've been seeing on the ground in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. Um, this started last night. You don't. Somebody in my channel wrote anti-Trump as AF. You don't want to know me. I probably do. I mean, I probably don't want to know you, but I don't mind you being here, even if you disagree with me or not. But nevertheless, thank you for coming through. But Tim Walz has caved into the demands of Trump and what most normal people wanted, which is not to have recklessness on the ground in the state of Minnesota or to have any city in the United States to become what Minnesota has become in these last couple of days. And what has become is a prelude into lawlessness, like similar to like during the BLM protests, where Minnesota was one of the places where they overtook a police station, if I remember correctly. Um, you were having the preludes of that now. I mean, like at some of the hotels where the ICE officers were staying, they were trashing the front of the hotel, trashing the windows. I saw morons, liberal white morons, on people's shoulders, breaking the lettering from the hotel. Tim will not bow down to this Nazi regime. I believe he's already doing so. I mean, like Tim Walz is already in hot water. I mean, and that's probably likely the reason as to why he's bowing down in the first place. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But the arrest already started happening last night. If you guys don't know, Trump and Tim Walz had a phone call over the weekend on Sunday, if I remember correctly. Trump put out a tweet or a social media post saying that they had a productive conversation and that Tim Walz wanted to lower the temperature, if you will. And Trump did something, kind of pulled a little boss move in the sense that Tom Homan, which I don't know what department Tom Homan runs particularly. Maybe he runs Border Patrol. I'm not sure. But Tom Homan, he's known to be a FAFO type of individual. Even before this administration got underway, like he was one of the people that Trump had selected to be in charge of deportations or border patrol. I'm not sure exactly what department, but he's always been very blustery as far as like the statements that he puts out. He's very anti illegal immigration. He's very pro deportations. He's very nonchalant about him wanting to get things done and not having to walk on eggshells to do so. He's been very clear, like even before he took the reins in this administration, about what his intentions were, and his intentions are to basically ramp up any efforts in trying to deport illegal immigrants. Um, where this social media post that Trump put out, I think the boss move in that was to say that, and according to the social media post, he said that they had a productive conversation, he and the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, but that they're gonna see what's to come, and that he also said that he was gonna put him to speak with Tom Homan to see what comes next, basically. And I think the good move in that is that everybody, especially the liberals or the shit liberals, know that Tom Homan, if there's any sort of character that fits the bill of like scary looking, anti um, illegal immigrants, it's Tom Homan. He looks the part, he talks it, he's very available like to the news media, and he doesn't back down or shy away from what his central mission is, which is to get illegal immigrants out of the country and to get more deportations in the way. Something I agree with on both parts. But Trump didn't say, I'm going to have a discourse with Tim Walz after tonight, or like, when he tweeted that post out on Sunday. He basically said, I'm going to put him on the phone with Tim Walz, and then they're going to come to some sort of agreement. And everybody knows, again, what Tim Walz is about. You know, he didn't give Tim Walz the opportunity, or what Tom Homan is all about. But he didn't give Trump, that is, didn't give Tim Walz the opportunity to try to grandstand or try to say one thing on the phone and then go do something else. He could potentially do that. I'm not putting it past Tim Walz. He's a lunatic, crazy hands liberal himself too. But the fact that Trump said that he's going to be dealing with Tim Walz here on out, if he tries to go against what Tim Walz's standard is, which again, I mean, what Tom Homan's standard is, which is mass deportations and arresting illegal immigrants that are committing crimes, then he'll deal with Trump's solution. I'm pretty sure Trump's solution is putting military on the ground. um, there's a lot of me that thought that the military on the ground was going to be the next step in all this, but Trump gave he's sort of like that in the past. Like, he gives people the opportunity to try to backstab him, and then he'll act accordingly. Let me take a sip of coffee, peoples. And with the liberal woke mob that Tim Walz is a part of, the governor of Minnesota, and that the mayor of Minneapolis, Fry, is also a part of. Their central accord is basically try to go against Trump at every turn. And now Trump is putting it out there via social media that Tim Walz is now kissing the ring, and he's going to be doing what I want him to do. He's not saying, or otherwise, I'm going to send the military in. He's basically just leaving it open. Like, if Tim Walz wants to try to play Trump, then that's on him, and then Trump will act accordingly. But it's good to see. I mean, like, and again, not only did what was this all verbiage and social media posts, immediately Tim Walz did the right thing and started arresting some of these protesters. I'm not sure if you guys are aware. There was, and again, I read Twitter. I read Twitter because I know a lot of people here won't read Twitter. In spite of the fact that at times I'll say, I got this little bit of news from Twitter, and you'll have a liberal moron who will say, oh, well, you're misinformed. I mean, like, they won't say where they're getting their news from. I mean, like, if they have to be candid and admit to where they're getting their news, it'll be either from Facebook posting, from other dipshits that only want to look for anti-Trump news, or it'll be from MSNBC, the regular standard mainstream media, which, I mean, if you guys haven't realized that the mainstream media is lying to you at every turn, I mean, since at least 2020, then you guys are late to the party, I guess. I mean, like, keep being misinformed. But Twitter, on the other hand, I mean, there is a lot of BS on Twitter. I mean, bit of you got to operate as if everything could be feeding you some sort of BS, like everywhere all at once. But Twitter is the closest thing to on the ground news that there is as far as news or social media. And then it's up to you, like to disseminate whether it's true or not. But what I found with Twitter is that a lot of times I'm seeing stuff like days before it happens. So I mean, sometimes it kind of hurts, um, or it makes you look crazy when you're too early, like with the news. But Twitter has kept me like really early in terms of what's happening because it's regular people on the ground telling you, this is happening in my neck of the woods. I mean, YouTube may have some of that as well, but you got to really like search for a particular YouTube channel that's on the ground somewhere, and then like YouTube has a tendency of censoring or feeding you what they want on the algorithm. So to find that stuff by chance is it's nearly impossible. I think YouTube is battering me through the algorithm myself. But Twitter, I mean, again, I mean, like, take everything with a grain of salt, sure. But Twitter is the closest thing to on the ground news that you're gonna get. And if somebody happens to feed you a line of BS on Twitter, as far as in the conservative media on Twitter goes, like they're very quick to call out like their own, whether like they're conservative or whether they're Republican. Conservative Twitter, what I've noticed is that if somebody lies or somebody makes something up in order to get clicks or in order to make themselves seem more important, like you actually have something like that happening right now. I just saw this account called Nick's Order was called out for making something up. Um, but conservative Twitter has a tendency of calling themselves out more or holding themselves accountable more. Whereas liberal news media, like, I mean, they don't have any sort of accountability. Even people that consume liberal media, if they're liberals, like if you're a shit lib and you consume liberal media and they're constantly telling you that it's safe and effective or that there's no problem at the border, you'll know you're being lied to and you won't say shit about it. You won't have a come to God moment like, hey, this story that you guys have been telling me has been true for months or years. I have now found out by just having eyes that you're lying to me. So I'm going to pivot away from consuming this kind of mainstream media news or this news source. No, a lot of shit liberals, they know they're being lied to, but so long as like the lie that they're being fed makes Trump look bad, they're going to keep on consuming it. And I mean, I know what I'm navigating in today's times. I mean, I know who I'm speaking to. I know who I'm not speaking to. I know who's contending against me. So I mean, I take everything with a grain of salt. But ultimately, the news sources that I do get a lot of my stuff from Twitter, people tend to have more of a long-standing reputation, especially nowadays. Nowadays, again, you got to think that everybody's BSing you to some degree, and most of the media nowadays, it's just basically anti-Trump. And I get it if you don't like Trump, but how often do you want to hear every story in to be twisted in some sort of way in which let's not cover anything but how it could make Trump look bad news media. I mean, come on, grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like, but good to see that this is happening in Minnesota. Um, Liberals are now again like trying to remix the argument about concealed carry or about the Second Amendment or about weaponry, guns being available because this gentleman unfortunately lost his life at the hands of a border patrol agent. I think his name is Richard Preddy. Um, so again, like since this individual who was had his life ended by ICE was carrying a handgun at the time of his unfortunate passing, now liberals are trying to remix that argument into saying, oh well, conservatives are all for gun rights, or like now this guy's getting killed because he had a gun. Like, that's a bunch of BS though. And again, like liberals, I can't find one liberal person in ever. Let me take another sip of coffee. Of these same people who are losing their hair over the fact that a federal agent um, shot a civilian. I can't find one liberal account, one liberal anything that had any sort of the same ill will towards a federal officer or a federal agent when Ashley Babbitt got shot during the protest at January 6th. They'll remix that argument. Well, she should have got shot, or like, oh well, like, those people, like, they're not civilians. They're doing an insurrection. I mean, but this fool, Richard Preddy, that got shot recently. I mean, like, they're trying to give you the humanize him in every sense possible. Again, I don't want to see him get. I don't want to see anybody get killed. But some of these people are going out there with the intention of stopping federal agents. I mean, like, if that were to happen anywhere, those people, like, where you have a mass amount of people going with the intentions of inhibiting federal agents from doing their jobs. I mean, like, in any normal circumstances, those kind of people would get arrested. I mean, if there were people, if there were federal agents in the aftermath of January 6th that were going after January 6th protesters, and then a bunch of conservatives came and try to stop, federal agents under a very weaponized Biden administration, where you had a government that was extremely weaponized against conservatives. If you had a large showing of conservatives that were trying to inhibit a weaponized Biden administration from doing their jobs, I mean, how often would you hear about that on the news, or how fast would those people be arrested? Yet in the liberal state of Minnesota and in the communist republic of Minneapolis, they want it both ways. They want to be virtue signaling and getting in the way of federal officers doing their jobs by deporting illegal aliens. And many times these are illegal aliens that are committing crimes or that have committed crimes. Where liberals, they you can't like rationalize with liberals, like whether a illegal alien is actually a criminal illegal alien, as in that illegal alien has committed crimes while they're in the country. They look at it as just because Trump is against illegal aliens, or just because Trump is against illegal immigrants, then no illegal, then ICE. I cheer on the fact that ICE is being inhibited just because, like, they don't, like, there's no, well, certain people should get deported. They just take a stance of nobody should get deported right now. And all their politics are based on one politician, and that politician being Trump. They look at liberals, liberal defenders look at things only in the sense of what Trump's view is on it, and I'm just gonna play contrarian to whatever I think Trump's views are on insert current issue. Um, and I'll expound upon that as I remember. This is a little freestyle session as far as this stream goes. I'm going off the cuff. Wanted to put some content out in the interwebs, just in case I can't come on tonight. But one thing I found out on Twitter, or was reading about on Twitter, was a thing called Signalgate. If you guys don't know, Signal is an app. I think it's used like to try to be a cloak and dagger with your conversations, or like it might be an app in which things disappear, or you utilize it so that your text or messages are hidden. And if you guys remember, when there was actually a controversy that Pete Hegseth was using that app with people from his inner circle, and when they were announcing, I think, like the Venezuelan boats that were getting hit by missiles early in this Trump administration, Um, and a lot of those, it was a big scandal. And when it got out to the news media, or the news media was trying to make it into a big scandal, it honestly wasn't a big deal for most normal people, other than shit liberals and the mainstream media. But that same app, there's been murmurings on Twitter that some of these people that are stopping the ICE operations are using that same app in an effort, like, to talk to each other, um, to give information on these ICE operators that are in the field in Minnesota, by giving out their license plates, by keeping track of where they are at a certain time. Anything you could think of, like they're basically trying to do a database on this Signal app, and keep track of where ICE is. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, with this fool that got shot, Richard Petty, whatever his name is, how did he know like where that ICE operation was happening? Like, or how is it that most times, like, or that you'll see these ICE operations happening in Minnesota, and then there's a handful of protesters that end up being there simultaneously. And the guy who got shot by the border patrol agent over the weekend, or whenever it was, um, he went out there armed, like, with the intention of inhibiting border patrol or ICE. And you got to ask yourself, how do these people know like where these federal officers are at any given time? So there's this rumor that there's and that people, when Pete Hegseth got caught using Signal, like the news media was calling it Signalgate, as was the shit liberals and the liberal defenders. And now I guess they're calling this Signalgate too, because the biggest part of what was shared on Twitter, or from what I read on Twitter, was that Tim Walz's lieutenant governor, I think her last name is Flanagan, supposedly was one of the administrators for one of these groups that on the Signal app was keeping track of the ICE agents and the ICE agents' movements and the ICE agents' license plates. And to me, I mean, that's bordering on treasonous. I don't know what you guys feel, but like that is highly illegal, and it gives me a moment of pause, or as to, or makes me wonder as to why all of a sudden, radical communist Tim Walz, who um, dropped out of running for re-election, even though he had every intention to run for a re-election bid, drops out of his re-election bid because of the scandal that he's mired in, that's happening in his state with the Somalian daycare facilities and Somalian Medicaid scam facilities. That being uncovered, and a couple weeks later, Tim Walz drops out of a re-election bid. Now, over the weekend, the first time I'm hearing about this Signal app being utilized by these radical leftist lunatics in the state of Minnesota, again, may implicate, allegedly, um, Tim Walz's own lieutenant governor, this Miss Flanagan, as being one of the administrators in this operation to track and name or do whatever, keep track of the license plates of these ICE agents and border patrol agents in the state of Minnesota. So it rubs me very suspiciously that Tim Walz, out of the clear blue, I mean, this is somebody who was cheering on the radical protests just a couple of days ago. Like, he said how proud he was of Minnesota because of the tensions that he's stoking on from his radical liberal population against these ICE agents. He put out a tweet saying how proud he was recently, and now over the weekend, when this new version of Signalgate is uncovered on Twitter, all of a sudden, he's making calls out to Trump and trying to lower the temperature. And then ultimately, last night, they're arresting protesters And it's not ICE doing it. It's not Border Patrol doing it. It's the state police of Minnesota. It's the local police in Minnesota. These are the same police that were instructed to not assist ICE agents. You'll see instances of ICE agents totally outnumbered by radical leftist lunatics within eyeshot of police officers and police or local Minnesota police officers, and the local Minnesota police officers don't do anything to assist these federal officers that are working on the ground in Minnesota. Now, all of a sudden, these same police officers who have been asleep at the wheel in terms of watching chaos come upon their city and being instructed not to intervene, now all of a sudden they're the ones taking part in arresting protesters as of last night. So, I mean, is one correlate with the other? I mean, if this signal gate is true and you have people that are in the hierarchy of government in the state of Minnesota taking part and potentially being administrators in what seems as is an illegal operation keeping track of federal officers. It gives me it sort of makes sense to a casual observer like me as to why Tim Walz has suddenly caved in and kissed the rings and caved into Trump's demands and is lowering the temperature down in Minnesota using the same Minnesota police that he had instructed not to intervene when ICE agents were outnumbered by these radical leftist lunatics. I mean, over the weekend, there was an instance of a radical leftist lunatic supposedly biting off the fingers of a ICE agent or a border patrol agent, one of the two. And this is in response to that you know radical leftist lunatic Richard Pretty, I believe his name is, having his life ended at the hands of these border patrol agents. And not much is talked about in that end, in regards to what these leftist lunatics actually do towards these federal agents that are operating in the state of Minnesota, including rabid activities like biting off somebody's fingers. Like how nasty, how crazy do you have to be to bite somebody's fingers off? Like I'm not blowing my own horn, but I've been in a few scraps in my day. I'm not above. I mean, and if shit hits the fan, I'll get down and dirty with the worst of them. But will I bite somebody's fingers off? I mean, that takes a lot of rage to do something in that fashion. And this is again just a random protester that's doing this against a random federal officer just because federal officer exists within eyeshot of a lunatic leftist liberal. Let me take another sip of coffee. I just realized that the only person that commented on this live stream, I didn't get the name at first, or I didn't see what the name was at first, but um, the name is actually anti-Trump AF, like or I don't know why I didn't really like, but I rather again with this channel have discourse, with the people that do watch, the limited number of people that YouTube has the good graces of sending in my direction via their sensorial algorithm. But I rather have conversations um and talk to people, see if they have any contention on what I'm saying. And again, I've been talking about this for the last couple of days as far as wanting to do a live stream that's an open panel. I'm probably gonna get to that. I may even do that tonight. Who knows? But I want to take advantage of StreamYard or the free trial that StreamYard gives every month And now that we're in the month of January, and I know I haven't done the open panel or use StreamYard this month, maybe I'll do it tonight. I don't know what I got going on tomorrow, but I'm freezing my ass off, so I'm not gonna be leaving the house with this New York winter cold that I'm living in as we speak. But again, I don't shy away from my views. I want to kind of have an open panel so that people could display their views and maybe debate or conversate, whatever have you. But hopefully, maybe I'll do that. I'm not saying hopefully today. Maybe I'll do it today. I'm gonna see what I have going on with my family as well. But should I do it today? Anybody is welcome to come through. The person that did comment anti-Trump AF, he's more than welcome. Or anybody else. I have a lot of people. I have more people that disagree with me than agree with me. But to all those that disagree, I mean, like I rather have you because it makes better content. But with that, I'm gonna be ending the stream now. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. As always, I am Sir File Player of Brooklyn on my new channel, Behold. Peace.